You're listening to Remotely One, a podcast that educates, entertains, and inspires you to take your life back from the office commute. I'm Rick, a former beer rep who left the warehouse to become a voice actor and digital creator.
And I'm Kaleem, a remote work advocate and consultant. We're going to speak with some of the top professionals who have managed to avoid the commute as they share stories from the most inspiring to the most comical, all while working remotely.
Man, this sounds awesome. Let's clock in.
All right, so we are here. We're back at Transform. I am so happy. We're in the tandem booth. Shout out to Mel and company for inviting us out here. We're in the tandem booth and we're talking about feedback in a remote setting, of course. So let's talk a little bit about our guest today. Okay, so our guest is from Malmo, Sweden. They currently reside in the Bay Area, right? All right. They have their bachelor's in HR management. Something most people do not know about our guest, and we're going to talk a little bit about this, is that she has a twin. Yep.
Identical.
She has a twin. Identical twin. Okay. Don't let us forget about that part because that's going to be the fun part. All right. Let's see. Oh, she's been an HR professional for 12 years and got her start at just a little consulting company, just a tiny one, KPMG. Okay. Then went on to work at a few other small companies you might not have heard of, no big deal. You got Walmart, you got Volvo, you got Kohler, just all over the place. That's really great. I'm psyched. What else do we have about our guest today? They are currently the founder of Don't Tell HR. Love the name, by the way. Shh, don't tell. She's also the current director of HR for Mojave Energy Systems, which is an HVAC manufacturer focused around green tech space. Green tech HVAC? Interesting. We got to talk about that. Listeners and viewers, please give a warm welcome to Susanne Kleveros. We got it, baby. We got it.
That was good. Wow.
Yes. I try to give you a good intro. Intro. So can you say it's great to be here? And I want to hear your name in Swedish. So why don't you give us a quick little sentence with your name in Swedish. So what do we got?
Okay, so mitt namn är Susanne Kleveros. Supertacksam för att vara här idag på Transform Conference. And that was the worst Swedish English ever.
That's awesome.
And if you would have people from Stockholm, they'd be like,
oh, but you know what? It's okay because I'm going to go visit there someday. I'm going to go visit there. Again, we're here in the tandem booth. So the first question we're asking everybody here at Transform is, what are some of the challenges or maybe even some of the advantages of giving continuous or critical feedback in a remote work or hybrid setting? What are some of the advantages or challenges?
Just split that up in two. So talk more about the challenges first of all.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually to get managers to be comfortable of doing that. A lot of times we give them the tools and the systems, but how are we giving them the support when they're in the conversations with their teams?
Right.
They need to start doing this. This is not something that should happen twice a year, 3 times a year. Mm-hmm. Like in every conversation, you should be like, hey, what do you think you did really well there? What could you do better? How do we get them to have it naturally coming, but also naturally feel like they can keep track of what was being said so they can come back to it as well. It's a two-way street. It's on the employees and it's on the managers to keep track of things. The positive things about that is, again, you should never be surprised when you walk into a performance review.
Right.
You should know 90%, 99% where you're at.
Because you're supposed to be having conversations. You all hear that?
Yes.
No one should be walking in surprised.
Have conversations. And I can say that as, say, for instance, if I look at myself,
mm-hmm.
I am not a meets person. I don't like being at meets. I want to be exceptional or exceeds, all of that.
Okay.
I hold myself at high standards.
Okay.
I then want my manager to come to me before I end up in a meets bucket. Let's divert early. What am I doing that's not meeting the expectations?
Did you say the meats bucket?
Yeah.
I love that. I thought you were like, a bowl of meat?
No, meats bucket.
She's talking about meeting expectations. Isn't that right? I love that. I'm going to use meats bucket from now on. That's really cool. I like that.
And I have to say, it's absolutely okay to be in meets. That's not a bad
Right.
thing at
You
all.
wanna
This is my
improve.
ego,
Mm-hmm.
my big ego. I want to be really, really good at what I do. But meets is good. I'm just going to clarify that very well.
Okay. So basically what I hear is like, okay, well, you have to have continuous feedback and you have to be able to track it. Oh, what tandem? What tandem? Oh, that wasn't even on purpose. So that's really interesting. And it makes sense because when you're in a remote work setting, you're not necessarily seeing everyone every day. You might not have that real tight rapport that you may have, and you may not be able to see kind of that human interaction. So the more frequent you have it, it totally makes sense. Tell us a little bit about Don't Tell HR. Love the name. Kudos to you. What is that about and how did you start it?
It's a consulting advisory firm. I've been doing for 12 years now, in and out a little bit.
Okay.
Don't Tell HR comes from the fact that I've had managers being like, I don't want people to come to you. And if they come to you, you need to tell me immediately.
We're not the police.
We're not the police. We're not
the
spies.
bad people police.
We're not here to spy on people. I am here to help you. I'm here to help the business.
Don't Tell HR. I love the name. That is great. So you're also the director of HR at Mojave Energy Systems.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about the challenge that Mojave's doing. Like, what are you trying to solve? Green tech space? Tell me what you're all doing.
Trying to save the world.
Just trying to save the world.
The team has an amazing product that actually was launched beginning of this year. It's an HVAC, HVAC units.
All right.
2 different sizes right now.
So for offices, for commercial space?
It's for commercial space.
Okay,
We're in the commercial space right now.
All right.
It lowers carbon emission with 70%. It actually uses less energy. If I get the technology right now, my CEO might be really mad at me. But normal HVACs, they tend to, when you want it colder in a room, say you want 65, it might drop down to 60, and then it slowly heats up the room. Our product can actually meet 65 faster. We won't do that, the big dip, and then go back up again. And we can also control humidity.
Mm-hmm.
So we can control both humidity and the temperature.
Mm-hmm.
And Phil, if I said this wrong, I'm so sorry. I'm going to need to do another training.
You're doing a good job, in my opinion, Phil, okay? All right?
But it takes less energy. Because we don't dip, it actually uses less energy.
That. Yes.
Then you save money with that.
Okay, very fascinating. So you're just saving the planet.
We're doing our best.
No big deal. So what is Mojave's work model? Are you hybrid? Are you remote? Are you on-site? How would you categorize it?
It's very mixed. Given that we're a manufacturing site, we have an on-site in South Carolina.
Okay.
We also have, our headquarters are in Sunnyvale, where we have engineers, researchers, they're working in the chem labs, out in the workshops, working on products as well.
Okay.
And then we have some that are remote and some that are hybrid. So it's a very big mix.
Wow, it's a big mix. How many employees roughly?
Currently it's 31 right now.
Okay.
Growing to be about 60 end of this year or so.
Lots of work.
More.
Lots of work as the director of HR coming.
I love it.
So in your opinion, what are some of the advantages of being a remote or hybrid company? Yeah, what are some of the advantages?
Because you can meet people where they're at and meet and connect the way that you like to communicate. You might not like to have very much in person, sit next to me, let's talk about your feedback and your performance. You might actually prefer to have a bit of a screen that you can it gives that little protection in between sometimes. And I think it's so important for managers to take a minute, have the conversations with the team. How would you prefer to get feedback? Does it feel threatening to have it in a room when it's just us two? Do you want to have a little bit of a space between so you can collect yourself, calm yourself down if there's something that's being difficult, things like that.
Are the remote people only in the Northern California area? Are you hiring people?
The remote folks we have right now are in a few different states. We have salespeople that are remote as well. And we are hiring.
Oh, you hear that? They're hiring.
It's an interesting space to hire in, for sure.
Pretty cool. So moving on to this fun stuff. Actually, right before the fun stuff, how do you envision this workplace flexibility thing heading in the future? I mean, you've been in a lot of different roles at a lot of major brands. You've seen how it was prior to 2020. Where are you kind of seeing this heading now?
I hate to say this. I think a lot of conversations, of course, is return to the office.
Yes.
But you have to understand too that, and someone said it really well in the session earlier today, is that the people that sits in this room and make the decisions, they built a career in the office.
Right.
They don't necessarily understand or see that you can build a career outside the office. I think if I look at Mojave, we have positions that needs to be in the office.
Of course. I mean, it makes sense.
We also need to have the flexibility maybe for those positions that are not office necessities in that sense.
Right.
But even for those that are in office, what if they have a really bad day or need like a little bit of a break? How can we support that then?
Yeah.
We need flexibility.
It's about support, isn't it?
Support and flexibility.
I feel like we have, as a society, I mean, obviously 2020 and post 2020 was horrific globally, but I do feel like we got a little bit more human. And you were able to see the human side. You've seen CEOs with their cat jumping in the screen. You've seen, the home office of a CEO that you may have never seen. So yeah, I do believe we are a little bit more considerate of the human. So focus on the person, the human experience, we're gonna be okay.
That's where you get the productivity.
Yeah.
Human.
So you are a twin.
Yes.
We're at the fun part. You are an identical twin.
Yes.
What is up when identical twins go on dates? What is going on with it? I mean, have you ever been on a date with another set of identical twins?
Together? No. Have I dated another identical twin? Yes, that was weird. Let me tell you that.
It was That is great.
And that was pretty much the only common denominator we had in those 2 dates. And then I was like, I'm out.
And what was the statistic that you told me earlier?
I've never seen so many twin couples that I've had in Sweden. There must be something in the water.
In the water. Must be something in the water.
I think in school it was me and my sister and at least 2 other twin couples as well.
Oh, that is hilarious. Awesome. Well, thank you, Susanne.
Thank you.
Susanne, I'm coming to Sweden. So I got to learn how to, speak some Swedish. But thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it. Come back anytime, and we'll talk to you soon.
Love it.
All
Thank you so much.
You've been listening to Remotely One. Visit us at remotely1.com/podcast for upcoming episodes. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and download our episodes on your favorite podcast app.
Hey, don't forget to clock out.